Gotta do the dishes. Gotta do the dishes.
Hey, thanks for coming tonight. It's good to see you. Grab yourself a drink, pull up a chair. I've got a story to tell you. Cheers, mate. Here we go. Welcome to Ton's Kitchen After Hours. Season 2, Heartless High, Bit 7, True Love versus Destiny. In Season 1, Bit 6, I told you about Saddles getting a girlfriend. Her name was Lorraine, but everyone called her Larry. Her family lived behind the park near Cambridge Park shops. She was a very sexy girl, and I could see that Saddles was in love. At first, I think he was a bit nervous to visit her house alone, so he took me along with him. I was only about 12 at the time. Larry had 2 sisters and a brother, Paul. He was my age. Kim was a year younger, and Julie a few years older. Paul was always happy to see me visit, and he'd talk my ear off every time. Kim used to sit next to me on the lounge and look at me with adoring eyes. Once I got the courage to hold her hand. She looked embarrassed and happy at the same time. Eventually, I asked her to be my girlfriend and she said yes. Finally, I had my first ever sweetheart. Saddles and Larry's relationship was like a fairy tale at first. They'd hang out together at the skating rink and were inseparable. I didn't see Kim so much as her father was very protective, her being the youngest and all. But I made sure I went to see her before our annual trip to the entrance at Christmas time. She gave me her Kim necklace to wear on my trip so I wouldn't forget about her. I'd touch it often and imagine we were holding hands again. One day, after swimming and playing on the beach, when it was getting dark, I went back to the caravan park and had a shower. When I was done, I looked in the mirror and Kim's necklace was gone. I was frantic, thinking it was an omen that we were going to break up. The next day at the crack of dawn, I rushed to the beach and I searched for it for hours. I thought I'd never find it and Kim would be furious with me, so I kept searching. And a short while later, to my disbelief, I found it. That made me think we were going to be together forever. I was afraid of losing it again, so I kept it safely tucked away in my wallet. Paul came to Penrith High the following year, and we were in a few classes together, but the most memorable was English. Our teacher was Miss Wells, an American with a strong accent. I didn't think she was eligible to teach the Queen's English, so never took her classes seriously. One guy in our class, Robert, only ever hung around with the girls, so we all thought there was something queer about him. And being the horrible kids we were, we took the piss out of him all the time. Then Miss Wells called me and Paul aside after class one day and informed us that 80% of boys had homosexual thoughts, so we shouldn't tease Robert, which made us think she was a lesbian. There was a really shy girl in our class named Laurel. I thought her name was funny, as I'd only ever heard it before used as Laurel and Hardy, the comedians. When the class was getting boring and Miss Wells was riding on the board, I'd call out like a ventriloquist, "Laurel!" in a voice that sounded like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Paul would lip sync it, and without fail, Miss Wells would quickly turn around and bust him. She'd kick him out every time, and he'd exit the room laughing his guts out, looking at me as if we'd just pulled off the greatest deception of all time. The following year, Kim came to our school, but she seemed to be avoiding me. I had no idea why, but I guessed we were no longer a couple. We didn't meet much anymore, as Saddles had stopped hanging around at their house. I think Larry's father didn't approve of him. So I started hanging around with Paul with the hope of seeing Kim more. But Paul wanted to hang out at the park. Maybe his father didn't approve of me as well. Their family moved to Dent Street in Jamison Town, just up the road from Jamison Park. Paul talked me into joining his footy team, the Waratahs. Our coach was Steve Coffey, an ex-Sharpie who'd done some jail time. We trained at Jamo Park a few times a week before the season officially started, and one day after training, Kim turned up. She asked me if I'd like to go to the river with her the next day, and asked me not to tell Paul. We met the next morning near the M4 Expressway bridge and walked along the riverside. She asked if I'd like to see her new bikini. "Hell yeah," I said. We went into a bushy place and she took off her dress. The two-piece was emerald green and her body was amazing. We laid on the grass and kissed for a while. My hands ventured south, but it was my first time, so I didn't enter the prime real estate. I just caressed around her lower belly and legs. I had no idea what to do. After a while, she looked disappointed, got up, put her dress back on, and I felt like an idiot. She said she wasn't feeling well and she went home. Our first game of footy was against Lethbridge Park. All of their forwards were huge islanders. We didn't stand a chance. I was a second rower, and 5 minutes into the game there was a scrum. It collapsed, and the Islanders crushed us under their full weight. My right wrist was badly damaged, and when I could get up, I started heading towards the coach. He looked really pissed off, and he screamed at me to get back in the scrum. I did, and the same thing happened again, damaging my wrist even more. This time, I headed off the field in tears. He got me to run tap water on my trembling wrist, and I was stuck there in severe pain until the end of the game. Then the coach took me to the hospital, and the X-ray showed 2 bad fractures. My rugby league career was over in less than 10 minutes, and I didn't go back after my wrist healed. I gave up hoping for a romance with Kim and just hung around with Paul at school. A few years later, Saddles and the Rain ended up getting married and moved into a flat on Castlereagh Street near the RSL club. They had a huge celebration piss-up at Larry's family's place. Me, Paul, Kim and another girl who I didn't know were hanging in Paul's bedroom, and he pulled out a bottle of grog from under his bed. We passed it around and took it slowly. When the bottle was empty, Paul suggested we go to Jamo Park for a walk. When we got there, Paul vanished into the darkness with the other girl, and me and Kim crawled into a concrete box used for trash on sports days. We kissed, and this time Kim took charge and guided my hand to where she wanted it to be. It was my first time to go so far, and I was sure I was going to lose my cherry that night. Then her father's voice shattered the silence with him bellowing, "Kim, where are you?" He sounded like he'd kill me if he found me with her, and Kim looked terrified. She kissed me one last time and took off back to the party. I stayed in the trash box until his shouts faded into the distance and headed home, licking my fingers all the way. And I'll tell you what, it was much more finger licking good than KFC. Oh, fucking hell. All right, that's it for tonight in Ton's Kitchen After Hours. Thanks for dropping by and keeping me company. If you want to hear more stories from my weird old past, make sure to follow the podcast and come back for the next episode. I'll leave the light on for you. Until then, take care and good night.
Gotta do the dishes. Gotta do the dishes before I go home.